So most people probably know by now that Nikki Haley's real name is Nimrata Rwanda. Yeah, real close. Nimrata Rwanda, Nikki Haley. So although she's never really come out and lied about it, and her last name Haley is her married, it is a big difference because it makes me wonder if she was born in this country. And it has nothing to do with what the state-run media, CNN and MSNBC, say. No, they just love to push this race card whenever they know they're losing. It's for a couple reasons. One is because less than a month ago, when at a town hall, she had somebody ask her, what was the Civil War about, and she said, "Oh, you had to ask me a hard one," and as if she had never. I mean, she's a Gen X. She's in the Gen X generation. If she was born here, she would have known the history pretty strongly. It's the millennials that weren't taught the right history, most of them, but she should know it. So I wonder. I'm just saying it's, and I think these questions have to be asked. Here's why. So Trump was tweeting back in the 2012, 13, 14. He was saying that somebody's got to do something about nabbing all these kids, and these kids in cages. He was saying many things that now have come to be true, right? Like everything he said has come true. So when he said way back then, in the media, had the state-run media, the Joy Reids, the soulless people on The View and on the media that want to do the bidding for Obama, when Trump started saying he wanted Obama to produce his birth certificate on Twitter, that caused all sorts of hell. But he put enough pressure on him to where he produced one. But 3 experts in the area of birth certificates refuted it. Now the state-run media is they will never say the truth. Never. That's how soulless they are. Because what would happen if they said the truth? That would be an entire 8 years of his presidency would have to be eliminated. It would, because you have to be born in this country to be president. So it would be null and void, which would mean Obamacare would be gone. That would be so nice. But that won't happen. It just won't. Now, you'll never, if you're expecting to hear the truth from the mainstream media, get over it. It's never, they're not capable of truth. That's why they just race. So, but Nikki Haley or Nimrata Rwanda isn't the only one that's changed their name. And I don't just mean to a nickname. Here's a couple of other people. So the 38th president, just as Gerald Ford, he came in after Nixon had to leave in the Watergate scandal. What Gerald Ford's real name is Leslie Lynch King Jr. Leslie Lynch King Jr. Seriously. However, Ford's parents split after his birth when Ford's father threatened to kill him and his mother. Ford then later changed his name to Gerald Rudolph Ford Jr. after his stepfather when Ford's mother remarried. The name change was not made official until Ford was 22 years old. So if you know anything about the way the global elites work, the way they've kept control over many of the politicians, especially the presidencies, is they keep it within a family line. If you look into the presidents, you'll find out many of them are related to each other in distant ways, and other people. And you'll find what they all seem to have surrounding them is they've had these major deaths to a father, a mother, or their wife, like Joe Biden's wife and his daughters died early on in his political life. Yeah. And of course, just as I said with him, his parents split after his father threatened to kill him and his mother. So, and he didn't change his name till 22. But here's another one. A famous one. And most people know this that have been looking into anything. The 42nd president is William Jefferson Blythe III. Yes. Clinton never knew his biological father. Clinton's father died, and his widowed mother remarried Roger Clinton. The former president didn't formally adopt the surname Clinton until he turned 15. So see, they groom these people. They do. They groom them since they're young. Hillary was groomed too. This is Bill Clinton's father, and this will make sense after you hear how he's been married 5 times, and he's just like the total player. Like the apple doesn't fall far from the genetic tree. So William Jefferson Blythe Jr. was an Arkansas salesman of heavy equipment and the biological father of Bill Clinton. 3 months before his son was born, so 3 months before Bill Clinton was born, Blythe drowned following a car crash. So that's what's strange too. He was driving from Chicago back to Arkansas, and one of his tires blew out on his Buick, and it caused him to lose control of the car, and then he was ejected from it. But they said that him being ejected didn't kill him. It was the drainage puddle that he landed it in and drowned. He drowned in 3 feet of water. So it's this crazy stuff. So he was married 5 times, and I just thought I would mention this. This is how crazy his relationships were. He married for the first time in 1935 to Virginia Adele Gash. They were divorced only 13 months later, but they stayed close friends, and they ended up having a baby 18 months after they had split, and the baby's name was Henry Leon Blythe. Then his second wife he went on to marry in 1938 was a 21-year-old Maxine Hamilton. They divorced 2 weeks later. The third person he married was Minnie Fay Gash, and this was his first wife's sister. That was in 1940. They annulled the marriage 4 months later. Then he went on to marry his fourth wife, Juanetta Ellen Alexander of Kansas City, Missouri. And the wedding was held in Jackson County, Missouri. Juanetta gave birth to Blythe's daughter on May 11th, 1941, 8 days after their wedding. Then what ended up happening is while he was married, he ended up getting married to another woman. So Blythe's divorce from Juanita was granted in court in 1944. 7 months prior, in 1943, Blythe had already married Virginia Dell Cassidy. Blythe and Virginia remained married until his death. 3 months after he died is when Bill Clinton was born. So this is Bill Clinton's ancestry line. Yeah. This was done by Gary Boyd Roberts, Ancestors of American Presidents. So there's just a couple of things to point out here. And if you know anything about the way that the global elites work to keep control, you know they keep it within the same people. So what's interesting, and I'm going to show a couple here, is interesting is this second name here. So this is his ancestry, Louis Birchie Ayers. Who's another name? Ayers. Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers out of Chicago. Professor for a couple decades at University of Illinois, Chicago. And before that, he was busy in the 60s with his wife, Bernadine Dorn, blowing up buildings, because that's how much they loved America here, because they were part of the Weather Underground group. And the reason I say there's this connection here is because, well, then, where did Obama's campaign begin for presidency? Well, it began in Chicago, in Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn's living room. Yes. And I've done enough videos about how they weren't just didn't just know each other in the neighborhood. They were way more tight than that. But that's what the elites do. These people will have distant relatives, like the Bushes are related in some way to Obama. It's true. It goes back far, too. Just another interesting name, Frances Ellen Fanny Hines. Fanny, there's a Fanny. And then another Ayers, Simpson Green Dick Ayers. Yeah. So just for people to know, Bill Ayers, he came from wealth, okay? Glen Ellen, Illinois. You don't live in Glen Ellen, Illinois unless you're wealthy. You won't be there long, put it that way. That's a suburb of, way out of Chicago. But yeah, so he came from Glen Ellen, Illinois. So he came from money. And he was all part of the radical, Saul Alinsky radical revolution. Everything you see playing out here, he knows exactly what it's all about. And so do our universities who are on board with it, which is the overthrowing of capitalism and the slavery system. Yeah, no, these are the people that are the sickos. The people that say, I'm Nikki Haley, but the real name is Nimrod Rwanda.